Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to another video on Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign. So I've been keeping an eye on this game in the background for quite a while now, and as we finally got some really decent gameplay of it in the stream last week, I thought it was about time we did a bit of a video on it. Now I'm sure some of you will probably never have heard of Knights of Honor, but way back in 2004 when it originally released, it was hugely successful and was actually really a major rival to Creative Assembly's Rome Total War 1, which also released in 2004, which coincidentally has also just been remastered and re-released as Knights of Honor preparing for their release, seemingly bitter rivals to the end. Yet, whilst Rome Total War put Creative Assembly on the map as that sort of main powerhouse of historical strategy gaming, we haven't heard anything else from the team behind Knights of Honor up until 2019, when THQ Nordic, along with the newly formed Black Sea Games, announced Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign as the successor to the original game. But despite the obvious similarities between this and the Total War franchise, both of them really kind of tackle the RTS genre in a very different way. In Knights of Honor, you're not going to be finding any turns or pauses in the strategy map or in the real-time strategy battles, because the whole game runs in real time. There aren't any turns like you're going to get in a Total War game. So that means you're going to have to be really switched on and paying attention to the map. If you're moving troops between cities or trying to move through troops up for an offensive on a different area of the line, you're really going to be having to paying attention to that map to make sure they don't get ambushed on the way. Because if they do, you need to spot it and you need to help them out. And this is for me what makes the game so interesting. You know, yes, we have other exciting upcoming RTS games, such as Age of Empires 4, but none of them really challenge the Total War games on their own turf by combining this sort of grand strategy map with the real-time battles, and that's what made the original Knights of Honor such a Total War rival in 2004, and I believe it can really hopefully do the same thing again today. And this is coming from someone who absolutely loves the Total War franchise, but I think they have had a bit of trouble over the last few games, and there is nothing like some stiff competition to get everyone setting up and get games improving and moving forwards in the right direction again. So what have we learnt about Knights of Honor 2 so far? Well, we know it's actually due for release this year, so hopefully we'll be starting to get, more and more gameplay going forwards. Particularly, I would really like to see some more detail on the real-time battle side of things, because that's something I'd love to see how that is going to be stacking up against Total War games. We've also got other comparators, maybe something like Manor Lords, see how it stacks up against that. From the short gameplay clip we actually got on the stream the other day, we actually get to see some Serbia gameplay as the country starts to prepare for war against its larger neighbour, Hungary. Then, as we get to see the Hungarian army laying siege to the fort, we can see the castle's garrison slowly depleting over time before the reinforcing army arrives. In this sense, the auto-resolve feature seems to be a lot more like a Paradox game, with battles taking place, over a time, in the real time, rather than sort of the instanced auto-resolve we get in something like a Total War, obviously because that's turn-based. We also see one of the issues you have of having your army split over your territory. It takes the player quite a long time to bring up the second half of his army to actually fight and get the Hungarians routing. So I guess there's going to be some pretty key decisions about army placement in this game. We also get to see some of the diplomatic interaction between the two nations, as well as trait selection and adjustment for the Serbian monarch as he prepares to go to war. Obviously, the game is still though in an early iteration, because we see some of the building and the UI is still just down as placeholders, and whilst the art gets finished off, but from actually, a grand strategy map point of view, it actually looks really quite nice graphically, and it seems to have a pretty user-friendly interface, which seems to be one of the main aims of the game. Whilst I guess they're probably taking a little bit of a shot at Paradox titles here, they say accessible grand strategy, all the depth of religion, diplomacy, city development and more, with none of the confusion, and that seems to be one of the main aims of the game. But this isn't a title where it's going to be taking hundreds of hours just to figure out what's going on. It's more of a casual grand strategy game that tries to sort of bring depth and casual gameplay together into one, and hopefully it's going to really build on what the base game offered, hopefully improving the base campaign as well as making some of the real-time battles slightly more intuitive, easier to control, because they were a little bit difficult at times. Although it was 2004, it was a long time ago. Although, despite these problems, the original game, often along with some modding, still actually has a real decent community around it, even today. And so I think if they can really keep developing and then building more on this game, as we have seen from some of the details that we've had from some of the developer diaries so far, then this game will be in a really good place. You know, they've already set up proper character development with traits and character levels, detailed city building trees and economy, with trade being a critical part of your nation's success, tied in with key diplomatic decisions helping to shape who you go to war with, what pacts are going to form against you or you can form against emerging rivals, and with whom you can trade and make money and grow your economy, all while set up in a real-time campaign and battle map, means that this game, in my opinion, has a really good chance of actually challenging Total War for the top spot this year when it finally releases, hopefully later on in 2021. Finally, I think the game actually just looks really nice. In a game like this, I'd often say that graphics are the least important part. You know, graphics play second fiddle to game mechanics. But the fact the game looks really nice, the fact it looks like it was developed in 2021, not 2010, cough cough, Age of Empires 4, is a great start. You know, and what little we have seen for the real-time battles looks really nice. The individual unit control means that it should be able to rival a Total War game. And I think this is what's going to make it a really interesting concept, because we really haven't had anything that can actually truly stand as a rival to a Total War game, because they're always different one way or another. They always focus either on the grand strategy or the battle parts, but no one else has ever really sort of combined them into two. But either way, whatever your current opinion on the game is, or if you played the original or not, this is certainly going to be a game to keep an eye on, and one that I'm hopeful is going to create a little bit of a splash when it launches later on this year. But that is all I have got time for on this video. Hopefully you have enjoyed this little preview of what Knights of Honor is all about. Do let me know what you think about this game in the comments down below. I'd be really interested to know how many of you in the comments as well have actually played the original game. How many of you remember playing it way back, you know, in 2004. I know I did, but I'd be kind of curious to see how many of you here also did as well. But also let me know in the comments what you think about the current state of the game now. We're starting to see a little bit more gameplay come out, so it's kind of interesting to see how the game has developed. But anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Do be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Knights of Honor updates as they come out, certainly those real-time battles. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all on the next one.